Data Science Experience Local version 1.2 introduces deployment and model management capabilities to help data science teams implement, manage, and ultimately deliver their models to production. Let's take a look at how we would deploy a project release that contains notebooks, models, and scripts.
This assumes that you already have a project in data science experience, you've trained some models, and you already have some scripts. In this case, I have a batch scoring and model evaluation script for the credit card default model. Now, if you have some teams of data scientists who have worked together to create these models, they may simply commit their project and push it to the master Git repo. And once their project has been committed, the lead data scientist can make a tag of that project and let the deployment admin know that this is the project that they want to release to production. So we can give it a tag like v1.0. Now switching personas to the deployment admin. The deployment admin can create a project release. They can give it a name and a unique route, which will appear in all the REST endpoints related to this release. They choose the project and the tag. In this case, it's the tag we just created, and create the project release. Once the release is created, you have a list of all your assets. We can filter models, notebooks, Shiny apps, scripts, etc. Let's look at models. What we want to do is create a deployment, a web service deployment for this model. We can call it online scoring, and we can just use the latest version of the model, and this model was trained in Python 2.7. Down here we have some options for high availability. We can reserve resources such as CPU and memory, and also for scaling we can add more and more replicas. In this case we'll just leave it at 1. We can also create deployments of scripts. So in this case, we have 2 jobs, the batch scoring and model evaluation job. We can create a deployed version of those jobs right here. This is a batch scoring job using Python 2.7. And we can do the same thing for the evaluation job. Model evaluation, Python 2.7. Now suppose these are all the deployments that I want in this release. You'll notice that the availability is listed as disabled. That's because we haven't brought the release online. You can bring the release online by clicking the launch button either from here or also from up here. We'll see a modal, and we can click launch. As you can see, the job deployments are automatically enabled. The online scoring deployment still lists disabled because the pod is actually still coming up. And we can see the status of that in the Active Environments tab. You can see the status here as yellow. Now when this status becomes green, then you will see that that deployment has come online and you can begin sending API requests to it. So now we see that the status is green. If we go back to the Deployments tab, we will see that online scoring is in fact enabled. We can test the API using the API tab. We also have information about the endpoint, and we can copy the deployment token by clicking this button here. The function that's going to be called is named score, and here's the body, which basically contains your model parameters. You can hit submit, and we can see that the probabilities are returned. If you want to call this model from outside of the cluster, you can click generate code and see a sample curl command. And I could copy this and run it from my terminal, for example. Similarly, we can call job deployments, and we have 3 options. We can either start, check the status, or stop a job. So if we wanted to start the job, we'll see a response that we've successfully started the deployed jobs run. And the same way we can trigger this from outside of the cluster using the generate code. The dashboard shows information about model evaluations related to my models. So if we were to run a model evaluation job, this dashboard would be updated with the latest evaluation for every particular model. And in our case, we've only have one model that's been evaluated. If we had 3 or 4 models, then all of those models would show up with their most recent evaluation time and the performance for the model.
We have seen how a deployment administrator can create a release from a project tag and deploy models and scripts from development to production. In addition to deploying models and scripts, deployment administrators can deploy Jupyter Notebooks, R Shiny apps, and SPSS flows. They can manage and monitor the deployed assets such as scheduling model evaluations, updating the release, viewing change history, and rolling back changes. See our other videos to learn more about what DSX Local can do for you.